And a lot of people want to call bottoms and say this is it, this is the shakeout. You're all, you know, you can fall into a trap of becoming too much of a perma bull, and you don't want to become a perma bull by trying to call bottoms. If you want to be a perma bull, just say this whole thing is just a one big shakeout and it goes higher later in the year or next year. That's why you buy spot. Don't become like this is the bottom, this is the bottom, this is the bottom, this is the bottom. Don't. That's just an ego thing. No one knows where the bottom's going to be, right? You don't need to. Why would you need to call bottoms? Calling bottoms is just an ego game. Have your levels, have your probabilities, right? Bitcoin holding 40, that was support. Bitcoin below 40, it's a kind of no man's land. So you don't need to say, oh, bottom's here, or it's going to reverse, or the bottom's 35 for sure, or the bottom's. No one knows. And you don't need to know, because literally every single time a bottom forms, it takes time. Just again, go back to Bitcoin and go back to the July, August, right? So we had a bottom at 25k. We had previous resistance, then we had a bottom at 25k, right? Then price came up, and then it flushed all the way down. And you could look at this and say, whatever, bottom. You can try and call the bottom there. There was a big leverage liquidation. There was a big shakeout, sure. But whether you called the bottom there or you waited for this test and this test and this test and this show of strength and this higher low and this higher low, see how much time you had to actually confirm your bottom. 2 months. So yeah, you can call the bottom here. This is part of the reason why I called the bottom on FTX collapse. Not because of any, it was just purely a sentiment thing. How much worse can it get than this? But that was the bottom, yeah, but was that like the best time to get all in? Sure, if your time frame's high enough. But if you're a trader, well, it came back down. And then it made a high, and then it made a higher low, and then it grinded up, and then it went sideways, right? You still had 2 months. November 10th to January 10th. You still had 2 months where it went kind of broadly sideways. So every single bottom after a major correction on Bitcoin has always taken time. It always takes time. So you don't need to call it on the day. If you do, if you want to say this seems like a bottom to me, I'm going to buy some spot and I'm going to hold, great. But if you're trying to trade, retests. Every bottom should be formed by a low, then probably a retest, then most likely a break above, and then a higher low. That's the simplest, most clear type of bottom structure you're ever going to get. Low, confirmation of it. That can be a higher low, it can be a sweep, who knows, but basically the same rough area. Price tries to go lower with a bounce in between. Then the next bounce goes above the previous one, so that's a higher low. Then there is this is a higher high. Then there is a higher low that forms. And then you can actually say, okay, now we have our confirmation. Low, bounce, retest, high, higher low, away we go. And it happens over and over and over and over again. Happened in August. Exact same thing. Right, back down into our 25k level. Low, bounce, retest, new high, higher low, and away we go. So if we're just in the process of trying to form this level now, trying to form this bottom, then think of all the things that have to happen here. Let's just imagine it forms, let's just say it forms here, right, at whatever, 38k. Well, then you're going to see low, some kind of bounce, some kind of retest, some kind of higher low, higher high, some kind of higher low. And then everyone's going to say this isn't it because it doesn't look great, and away it goes. So that rough pattern is basically how it always plays out, because it's just market structure. It finds a level, it then retests it. Why is the retest so important? Because how do you confirm that something is a bottom? The market's going to come back and test it. The market's going to come back and see, is this actually support? So it drifts back towards it. If it holds, it is in fact support. Then you've got the most simple thing, which is just market structure. It makes a new high. So that then takes you into what an uptrend begins with, which is a higher low and a higher high. And then you come back, the higher low. That's usually the last trap where people start to panic and sell. And then away it goes. The thing is, too many people obsess over where this is going to happen. Do you think, like I get same questions all the time, do you think it's going to go to 38 or 35 or 25 or 30 or 32? I don't know. But why do you need to know either? As a trader, can't you just wait for that same thing to form and then take your trades based on that? Because this could happen here. It could happen at 35. It could happen at 30. And it all looks the exact same. Right? So the only difference is, do you have the patience to sit through, it could take us several more weeks to get down here. You have the patience to sit through all that. Like, that would be brutal, right? That would be painful. That would be shitty. This could definitely happen. Can you imagine how bad sentiment will be then? People will think this is never going to go up again. Great, excellent, perfect. But will I try and catch a knife on longs here? No. Keep buying spot, keep buying spot, keep buying spot. And then, once it starts to double bottom, sign of a new high, sign of a higher low, that's when you start to get your longs in. Yeah? So,